What if one night, in the stillness of her room, Elena heard someone whisper her name? What if the voice didn't belong to the living? And what if, before she knew it, she was no longer in control of her own mind? This was not just a story but a terrifying tale of hypnosis, hauntings, and horror. Blackwood Academy was a prestigious institution with an unsettling past. 5 years ago, a girl named Isabel mysteriously fell from the 5th-floor balcony of the girls' hostel and died instantly. No one knew how she fell. No screams. No struggle. Just silence followed by a dull, echoing thud. Some believed she jumped, while others whispered that something had pushed her. But soon rumors spread that her ghost still roamed the abandoned 5th floor. The school authorities sealed it shut, but curiosity never let secrets rest. Elena and Sophie were roommates and best friends. Elena was the quiet, studious one, always staying up late to read. Sophie, fearless and adventurous, dismissed ghost stories as mere tales. But that belief was about to change. One night, while studying alone, Elena felt thirsty. The dorm was silent, and Sophie was fast asleep. Tiptoeing down the hallway, she went to fetch water. The air was thick, and a faint chill ran down her spine. Something about the silence felt different that night, heavier, as though she was being watched. As Elena drank, she heard a soft whisper, calling her name. A slow, drawn-out, "Elena." Her grip tightened on the glass. She turned abruptly, but nothing was there. The corridor stretched into darkness. A cold sweat formed on her forehead. Was it just her imagination? Or was someone really there? Shaking off the fear, she turned back, only to see Sophie standing at the end of the hall. But something was off. Sophie wasn't wearing her glasses or her necklace. Her head tilted unnaturally to one side, her arms hanging loosely by her sides, fingers twitching slightly as if they didn't belong to her. She stared, unblinking, with an eerie smile. When Elena asked what she was doing, Sophie's voice sounded hollow, lifeless. "Let's go to the 5th floor, Elena. We need to go." Elena's breathing grew uneven. Her vision blurred as she locked eyes with Sophie's white, soulless gaze. A sickening dizziness washed over her, a heaviness settling in her chest. It was as if something invisible was wrapping itself around her, squeezing, whispering inside her head. Her head felt heavy, her limbs weak. A deep whisper filled her ears, urging her to jump. The same words. The same voice. The ghost of Isabel was trying to finish what she had started. Under the ghost's control, Elena started walking toward the stairs, step by step, like a puppet with no will of her own. The stairwell was darker than usual. The light at the top flickered erratically, casting eerie shadows along the walls. With each step, the whispers grew louder, more insistent, wrapping around her like tendrils of cold mist. Her feet barely touched the floor, moving as if she was gliding. The world around her began to distort. The walls stretched unnaturally, the floor beneath her seemed to breathe, and the shadows flickered with movement that wasn't hers. Her mind screamed at her to stop, to wake up, but she was trapped in a trance. In her room, Sophie woke suddenly, feeling uneasy. Her throat was dry, her body drenched in sweat. Something wasn't right. She turned to see Elena's bed empty. Panic struck. She rushed out, calling Elena's name. No response. Then, she heard footsteps on the stairs leading to the 5th floor. But they weren't just normal footsteps. They were slow, deliberate, and echoing in an unnatural rhythm. Her heart stopped. Elena wouldn't go there. She ran, her pulse hammering, only to find Elena standing at the edge of the broken balcony, her eyes empty, her breath shallow, staring into the abyss below. The whispers had turned into a cacophony, a distorted symphony of voices all urging her. "Jump! Jump!" Sophie screamed, but Elena didn't move. Her lips parted slightly, as if she were about to obey. The wind howled through the broken windows, carrying a deep, guttural laughter that wasn't human. Shadows twisted along the walls, forming grotesque figures that flickered between reality and nightmare. The air was thick with the scent of something rotten, something long dead. Just as Elena leaned forward, Sophie lunged, yanking her back with all her strength. The force sent them both crashing onto the cold, hard floor. The moment Elena hit the ground, the trance shattered. She gasped, eyes wide with terror, her mind flooded with clarity. Sophie clutched her tightly, her own body shaking with fear. That night, Sophie saved Elena's life. But as they scrambled to their feet and looked back at the balcony, their blood ran cold. Isabel was there, standing in the shadows. Her face was pale, her eyes hollow, lips curled into an inhuman smile. She raised a single finger to her lips, signaling them to stay silent. And then, she whispered, "See you soon." Some say spirits can manipulate the mind, bending reality to their will. Some say they prey on the weak, the curious, the ones who don't believe. Have you ever had a dream so real you weren't sure if you were awake? Maybe something was watching you. And maybe, just maybe, it still is.